So I guess secretary is probably a better word.
Well, I think any kind of note taking in the new contributors channel in Slack would be really nice, just for people that aren't here to follow along with like what
Yeah.
happened, and that'd be lovely, Blaise. Yeah, thanks for volunteering. Okay, so the stream is live. Hi, viewers. I think there's currently 0 viewers on the Twitch stream, so that's all right. I'll try and let you know how that progresses. But it is being recorded now. So we're here with the Cucumber New Contributors Mob. We've got great turnout this week. Emmanuel Ola, or Demi as we call him, Blaise Pavon, or Blaise as we call him, and Dane Parchment. Do we refer you as Dane Parchment Jr.? Because that is what it says.
You can call me whatever you want.
Well, can I just call you Dane? Would that do?
Yep.
That'll work.
Yeah, and we run this session every Friday. This is about making open source less of a closed shop, making it more welcoming, showing how we do it, working in the open. And all of these folks are people who are fairly new to working with open source, and we've been working on a pull request to Cucumber's JavaScript implementation over the last few weeks. And I think that's probably what we're going to work on this week. And yeah, if you're interested in joining us, that would be wonderful. And the best way to get onto this session is to come into our community Slack. And I'll make sure there's some links around the video so that you can find your way in, and then you can get on the Zoom call. Yeah, so I'm thinking we're going to carry on with Demi's pull request on the on the stack traces thing, because we're really close to having that ready to merge now. We've been doing a bit of back and forth on the pull request, right, Demi? Are you still there? Your video's gone.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, so does that sound like a good kind of goal for today, is to pick that pull request up and see if we can get it to merged?
That sounds good.
Now, I think that probably both Dane and Demi are in a position to be able to drive on this, like to touch the code.
Oh, not me for
Not
now.
you, no.
I'm bouncing back between a lot of different things right now, so
Right, okay.
I can't put 100% focus on this.
No worries. Well, that's the beauty of mobbing, that we can just give what energy and attention we've got. So, well, Demi, do you mind driving then? Would that be all right with you?
That'd be great.
Okay, cool. Do you want to share your screen then when you're ready?
Yes. 1 second. Ooh, the beauty of the new Mac focus modes, I can just turn on my work focus and not have interruptions. Doing.
I need
Right,
to
there
learn
you
what
go.
that is. I don't know what that is.
Oh, so it's like, I'll share my screen and show it to you. So I can do something like this, and then turn on any of these focuses.
Ooh.
So I have one for work, I have one for school, I have one for driving, sleep, and depending on what the context is, I'm only going to get notifications from specific people in specific apps and all that.
Wow. But you have to set all that up, I guess. You have to tell it what those modes look like.
Yeah. Yes, you have to describe all that stuff to it.
That's pretty fancy.
But it's nice.
Yeah. Okay, well, that looks great. We can see your screen pretty clearly. So where are we at right now then? Are we looking at the head of your branch that's in the pull request?
Yes.
And we probably need to pull up the pull request as well and just look at where we're at with because there's been some discussion in there, and it looks like maybe so I think the last thing we were talking about in there was the stuff about using normalized path, right, on this code on line 9 here. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So, but it's probably quite a good idea if we start with the. Do you want to open up the pull request in a browser, Demi, and we can just go through that and look at sort of what's left to deal with on it, because it's sometimes a bit chaotic as you go down these things to see where the remaining comments are. So let's have a look at, so you see up there, we just scroll past it where it says resolve conversation. We just went past one there. Let's check on that. So because we want to get to the point in a pull request where there's no open conversations left. So this is, I think this is one of them, isn't it? Actually, if we scroll up a bit, this is maybe the bit we were talking about just now. So I'd spotted that and said maybe we could do this thing with changing the regex, which is what looks like you've just done that in the code. And then David came up with a much better suggestion, which is just to use path normalize. So that would probably be a good commit to start with, I think, would be to switch it over to use path normalize. And then we could go from there. And because if we push this, we'll get to see the CI will run it for us in Windows.
All right. So
does anybody else want to try kind of like navigating Demi so the white guy can shut up?
I don't know Java. I feel self-conscious about my JavaScript skills.
I just realized I'm muted.
That's better.
Yes. Okay, so what are we? Okay, so, I'm sorry. I got like
No, you're good.
we have a customer issue happening right now, so I might actually have to like get pulled away depending on the severity of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so essentially, like I think I can sum up the problem we've got here is that this assertion here, what we're trying to do is check that a file path is correct that's come out of this function that we're testing. And what we found is that when we run the test on Windows, the result that we get out of the function has got backslashes in it rather than forward slashes, which makes it difficult to do a comparison with a static string because this test only passes on a non-Windows platform. And the suggestion we've had from David, the maintainer of Cucumber.js, is that we basically pump both of the comparison values, the actual and the expected values, through path.normalize, the node function, so that they're always going to be normalized to forward or backslashes for the platform. So we get rid of the chance of them being different.
Yeah.
So I guess that the actual is URI, and then the expected is that hard-coded string.
So are we going to we're normalizing this, right? This the expected string, right?
Yeah, and in fact, it looks like that expected string's got a little bit of clutter at the end of it. It's still from it trying to be a regular expression, so we should get rid of those that's trailing slash as well, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just a little bit confused about the how we were using path.normalize.
Yeah, in Python, there's a built-in function called pathlib. The syntax is similar. Path.normalize should return I think it returns a string regardless of so like those two should see, that's a terrible example because they should have the same string in both cases.
What do you mean?
Yeah, right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The strings are so different that it's hard to know what the function does.
Yeah. Okay. But let's not try and solve the problem with Node's documentation. Let's try and solve the problem.
Oh, no, God, no. Yeah, I'm just, yeah.
So
I think they're showing that you're just removing all the excess stuff here.
Yeah.
It's just normalizing the path. They just have different If different paths showed up, that's pretty funny.
Right.
It
The
may not be.
problem
It
though
might be
is,
path parse because what you want is the value, right? You don't necessarily want the spelling of it to be the same.
Yeah, well, we could try both and see which one works. Can you run the test, Demi, just to like show us where we're at with it? Because it should be passing at the moment, right?
yeah,
We don't want to sort of get into that little loop of having the test running.
probably had to
There's
lens fix or something.
probably had to what?
The lint fix thing that
Oh
might give me.
yeah, yeah. There's also we can probably find a way to run the test a bit quicker.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, is it autofix? I think. Is it autofix?
Yeah,
I think it was. No, I think it was like a single dash.
that way.
Oh yeah, maybe try it.
I think that's what I used last time.
Yeah, you just need a run on the front of that. And it is possible to set up your VS Code so it does this automatically, but it's probably not the yak we want to shave right now.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time.
Well, I'll write it down because maybe when we get around a loop we can look at it. I think what you can probably do next time we run the test is run like npm or npx mocker, and then just the path to this one file,
Sounds good.
and then that'll just run that one test because it's doing a lot of other stuff that's making it slow to give us feedback that we don't really need it to do every single time. Even that one, just npm run unit test.
You
You
guys,
see the one it's running.
what are you
right
guys
now?
using for your test runner?
Mocker.
Okay.
Do you see it just going by
we,
there?
we use Jest and we have it set so that it automatically only runs the test on files that you've changed. So it doesn't
Yeah.
run the entire test suite. It only runs like the specific tests that
That's fancy.
your code has
In
changed.
fact, we can do that we can put Mocker in watch mode. And this is the last remaining failing scenario, right, that we also need to get to. Oh, and you've got
What's
two,
this?
which is funny. That's funny because you've got this is one that doesn't fail on CI. This one about the summary text file. We need to have another look at that. It's something about your temp drive, I think. We'll have another look at that after. But let's get this Windows failure fixed first. I think.
Sounds good.
So yeah, try this, Demi. Try npx mocker, and then the path to this file. So it's source / oops.
What?
Get out. Maybe try Control D.
Try Command C if you're on Mac or whatnot to cancel what you just did.
Or put another single quote in and then press enter.
You might, yeah, so you might have to do that. There you go.
Yeah, try
That's funny.
npx mocker source / support. You should be able to tab complete this. Can you tab complete it?
Wait a minute. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Get definition and then dot spec, is it? Underscore spec. Yeah, and then pass it -w as well, which will make it watch. So when we change the file, it'll run the test again. Try that.
That is amazing.
What's amazing?
That tab complete.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, it's if it's not working, it's super annoying, and if it is working, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I know, like the asterisk, when you're trying to change directory and all of that stuff, or like navigate something. I just didn't know you could tab complete and it would just actually autocomplete.
So what's happening now? It's not doing anything, is it? Is that because we haven't changed the file? Maybe I would have thought it would have run the test once for us, but let's try. Just change anything in here. Put a space in that string to match, or Okay, so maybe minus W is not working. Can you cancel that? and
It's
do
like
it?
I don't think that's even running anything.
Yeah, it's gone weird, isn't it? Don't know what it's doing. Control
It
C it.
froze whatever it did.
I jumped the gun a bit trying to do minus W, didn't I? He's trying all the quits. I love it. I think
It's weird that
Control C.
it's weird that
should be the
Command
one.
C doesn't work for you. Command or Control C doesn't work for you. That's weird because that's normally what I
Yeah.
do to
Yeah,
cancel
that
it.
should send a hard break to it, shouldn't it?
You might have to just close and reopen that terminal. I forget this is in VS Code, so
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't do it. Maybe new terminal. There we go.
yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant by closed.
Yeah.
Destroy and create.
So try it without the minus W. Just do that file source slash. I don't think you need the quotes around it either, really. Three viewers on the stream now. Hi, viewers.
Hey, viewers.
I think something else is. Oh,
npx
never
my
mind.
file.
It's passing.
Okay, it passed. Were we expecting it to fail or pass?
I think we're expecting it to pass.
Yeah, we are expecting
Okay.
it to pass. Yeah, I'm just surprised we can't do minus W because that normally works fine. But let's not worry about it. We are expecting it to pass because we're not on Windows. That's the thing. But we need to like refactor this test so it still passes, and we think it will pass on Windows. And then if we push it, the GitHub CI will run it for us on Windows, and we'll find out whether it did.
Yeah, I don't think Python normalized checks the operating system or something.
Yeah, no,
I think-
it doesn't. What it does is it normalizes the path itself. So if the path
Right.
provided is a Windows path, it'll fix it for Windows. If it's a Linux or Unix path, it'll do it for that. But it's not going to
So-
be like make them all the same sort
Yeah.
of path.
So we need to like sort of somehow read. Oh, this. I think this is what we need actually.
Should we? What? Can you just read the? Can you just show me the docs for path.normalize? Because there was something in there about what it did.
Yeah.
It says
Path
when
dot normalize.
multiple sequential path segmentation characters are found, e.g. // on POSIX and either back or / on Windows, they are replaced by a single instance of the platform-specific path segment, either / on POSIX or / on Windows. Trailing separators are preserved. So you see, I think what David's saying is if we pump both values through this function, whatever platform it's on, it's going to fix all of the slashes to be consistent with the platform it's on. And so we should get it's just saying like, this is a path, and it's going to compare like with like. I think we should try it because I trust David.
Wasn't
he suggests it.
the issue though that you would get a Windows path and it would fail because the code wasn't set up to support a Windows path?
Well,
Because
the
you're
reason
doing
it fails
a
is
strict
because we've
equals,
hard
right?
coded here a Unixy path, and
Yeah.
But if we also normalize the one we're matching it with, then
okay.
we'll be comparing like with like.
Okay, so this is just a testing issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay, I thought this was like the code wasn't built to support Windows paths. Or the function wasn't.
I think you just need to import path from path.
Just import path from path. Don't do the curly braces.
Oh.
Yeah, it needs to be.
No, you have to put it in
strings.
strings. You have to put the path in strings.
Ah.
There you go. Yeah, so we need to do the same to the URI as well. And
Yeah, because they
maybe
both have
better
to
if we
equal each
change it
other.
to being
They
assert
both have to
equal.
equal each other.
Yeah.
If they're not equaling each other, then there's no point, right?
So should we change it to an assert equal rather than assert okay?
What does assert.ok do? I don't have much unit testing knowledge to.
Yeah, if you change the call to assert to be assert.equal, or you could even use this strict equal. I don't really know whether it's necessary. And then pass it two values. So if you hover over the assert strict equal function, it'll tell you which way round you should get them, because it's important when you see it fail to have the expected and the actual the right way round. And I can never remember.
Using this one, it seems actual and expect.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So let's try that. Yeah. And we should just expect this to still pass.
Oh
Nope.
boy. Oh. Because wait, no, that shouldn't affect anything.
Well, this one's a different line number, right? It's saying 8 doesn't equal 7.
Oh, because we changed. Did we change the?
I think we've maybe changed. I don't know. I don't understand why 7's changed to an 8.
Oh, because maybe it's because get.
Oh yeah, because we added import path from path, which has shunted everything down in the file.
Right.
That was confusing.
I just realized that we're testing this file specifically.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
makes
it's
sense.
super.
Yeah.
This is super weird stuff to be testing.
I was like, why would we have to change the line file for this?
Great.
That just
so do you want to run the linter on it, Demi, just to make sure that's not going to fuss when we try and run the tests?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to run the linter, the lint autofix? Because as soon as we so another cool thing you can do at the terminal, Demi, try this, right? Delete all the characters, press Control R, and then start typing like lint. There you go.
Wow.
4 minutes.
Wow. Okay. The more you learn,
shell history
the more you
thing is phenomenal. It's kind of scary because it like remembers everything you ever typed into a shell if you go and look at that file. But
Wait,
it's
really?
super useful. Yeah, there's a file, a bash history or a ZSH history file where it keeps everything that you've ever typed. But it's super useful if you want to remember an old command you typed a few ago. Just press Control R and it'll.
Well, yeah, that should pass. So, seems we have that figured out now. So,
right, are we ready to make a commit then, Ensemble? What do we think?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like we're good. Everything's passing, right?
What's the commit message?
What have we done? I think you were onto something when you said we're normalizing the path. I mean, the thing we're trying to fix is that it fails on Windows, isn't it? So something about saying about Windows, yeah. And do you want to try and use your Git mob co-authors to add Blaise and Demi, Blaise and Dane to this as well? So you've got the little thingy at the bottom that might give you some people. You've got that plugin.
Oh.
Got anybody here? I guess probably Blaise, and neither Blaise or Dane will be in this list. I might be. So it might give you one example.
I don't think I'll be here.
Because this is all previous contributors.
Yeah.
As me. Oh well. Yeah, you were on to. I think you were right with your just doing it by hand, probably.
Authored by.
I think you need a hyphen between authored and by. So it's like I did this the other day in the new contributors mob. I'll put it in Slack. in a sec. It's co-authored-by, and then so hyphens all the way, yeah, and no space before the colon, and then their normal name. So if you're doing me, you. Oh my God,
Wow.
it's gone.
Like that?
Yes, and then in the angle brackets you can put my email address, which is matt@cucumber.io. Yeah. You could stretch this panel out a bit wider so it's not doing that funny wrapping stuff. It's probably a bit. Keep going. Because it should all be on one line, that shouldn't it?
Oh,
You want to make sure it's all on one. Because you want one line per co-author, I think. Can you stretch it even wider? Yeah, so
like
co-authored by and then my name should all be on one line. That's it. And then you want the same for the other two as well. On separate lines. So you have the co-authored by thing at the front, and then
Oh, do we have to put our real name, or is it the GitHub name?
you can put whatever you like. Actually, it's just if it links up to your Google, your GitHub email address, your registered GitHub email address, or one of your registered GitHub email addresses, then your avatar will show on the commit. That's all.
Well, that's cool.
Nice.
So you need that co-authored by prefix on both of those lines as well, Demi.
oh,
So just that's like the little.
So it's like a label or a tag.
Yeah.
I see.
It's just a convention that I think it's just a convention that GitHub reads out of the commit messages and just understands it as co-authors. Now,
Do you need a comma at the end of each line,
oh goodness,
like a JSON list?
why is it reading?
wow, I don't know what that was. I would also leave a space after the person's name before you do the angle brackets, just to be on the safe side. I'm not sure if that's necessary, but it's sort of the way I've seen it before. Yeah. And yeah, the tools for helping with this are really, really useful. But it's all right doing it by hand, isn't it? We'll see how it looks in a minute.
All right.
Oh, you have to actually stage a change. Yeah. Woo! So if we go and have a look at the pull request on GitHub now, we should see the bots are spinning now. Scroll down to the bottom. Yeah, so
Yes.
it's running the tests now. It says it's queued. Now,
This is cool.
there's nothing I have to do here to trigger it, is it? No, it started. Great.
No, it should. Those
The other
should
thing you can
it
do
automatically.
is if you spin up to the top of the pull request, just scroll right up to the very top. On the tabs, we should have checks. So there's 4 tabs for a pull request. No, not the checklist. The tabs across the top. This says conversation, commits, and checks. Here we go.
Oh, nice.
So we can watch the Windows one.
Yeah, we have the same thing set up for our repos. It's nice.
GitHub
GitHub
Actions
Actions
are
are really
nice.
nice.
It's lovely.
Is that a pass on window? Yes, it is, I guess.
If
Oh no,
you're
it's
interested
currently
in-
it's currently running.
If you're,
on it.
it's running now. Yeah, it's.
It's
Oh, I
running
see.
now.
Okay.
If you're interested in how this works, Demi, if you open your VS Code window for a minute, we can just have a look at what's happening, like where this is coming from. So if you go to the File Explorer on the left, the top left one, and scroll up to the top, there's a .github directory, and in there's a workflows directory, and we'll be running build right now, I should imagine. So in here you can see this is where it configures all of the steps it's going to do.
Right. That's kind of cool.
And it's got a matrix which allows you to define to go across 2 operating systems. So we're going to run builds on Ubuntu and on Windows, but then also across these 3 different node versions. So we actually end up with 6 builds altogether because it runs the 3 node versions on the 2 operating systems.
That's
And then it runs all of
cool
those
to know.
steps across all
But
of them.
I could use that in like school projects and whatnot for
It's
automated.
so good because once you start using automated tests, if you just have them running by a robot every single time you push, and then you get that little green check on the commit if all the tests are passing, or you get a red mark if they're failing, it's just so good because you just get that instant feedback.
All the continuous integration if you want to like look up more of this sort of stuff.
So we've got a fail.
All right. On Ubuntu.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the. I wonder if it's got all the way down to the acceptance test because we know that's going to fail as well. Yeah, it has. Yeah, so that's okay. We expected that to happen, but what we want to see is that the Windows unit tests are passing, and it looks like they are. Yay! Because that was not happening before, right? If we went back,
Yeah, it wasn't.
to the previous commit, that was failing. So that's progress. Excellent. So we could go back to the conversation tab now, and we could put a little comment in to say, ooh.
How did I get back to the?
There you go. So where that conversation was here, you could put some words in if you wanted. You could just resolve conversation because it's done. I mean, you could write "done!" exclamation mark and then click resolve. Now, the remaining problem that we have then is that we've got this failing scenario, and what we sort of concluded was that we could just remove, for now, the expectation that's failing. I think we might be able to do more than that, but if we start with that, let's try that and see if we can get to green tests. That would be great.
Can you mark it as expected?
Say what, Blaise?
Sorry, can you mark it as expected?
Well, the thing is, basically, the scenario is no longer valid. Like, it's describing behavior that Cucumber doesn't do anymore, and it's a good thing. Because it used to witter on about a warning because it wasn't able to understand the stack trace. But we've changed the library we're using for stack trace parsing, and it's better, and it doesn't have this problem anymore. So we can, if you search Marketplace for a minute, Demi, you'll get syntax highlighting in this file, which might be nice for you. See that big blue button down the bottom right? Just hit that, and then that top one's the one.
Oh wow! Okay, Cucumber's own extension.
Oh, cool.
Aslak's actually been working on an in-house one that's going to be even more awesome than this one. It's almost ready.
Oh, that's why it doesn't have any highlighting, because again, read Cucumber feature code.
Yeah. So if you've installed this, if you flick back to that feature file now, you should see. That's
It's kind of amazing that it has 400,000 downloads when there don't seem to be that many people in the Cucumber community.
Well, it depends. When you say in the Cucumber community, you mean in the Slack channel?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
There's a lot of people out there using it.
It's actually funny because it came up in a class that I was supposed to take this semester.
What did Cucumber?
Yes.
Did it?
Oh.
And you
So
were
you
like,
remember Andrew? Remember Andrew who came in like a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago? He said his professor mentioned Cucumber in one of his classes.
Ah.
Wow.
And I was supposed to take that class, but I didn't.
Oh, you could have.
It would have been amazing. I would have been like, oh, I contribute to this like every week.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think if we lose lines 24 and beyond, because it doesn't spit that error output out anymore, and that's why it's failing, because it just doesn't do that.
So I'll just remove that?
Yeah. And I kind of...
Oh, nice.
I mean, I'd really like Dane and Blaise to understand what this is about, because I think we may be able to remove this entire scenario,
Right.
and also the whole file, even the whole test, and also some code in the implementation as well. Because if you look at the implementation, so that's probably your leftmost tab, get definition line in URI. In the tabs you've got across the top of your editor, there, that one, yeah. See, we've got all this whole exception handling thing here, right? And line 29, where it catches if there was an error.
Right.
My thesis is that we never get this exception anymore because we're using this new library. So this whole test was like covering us for, did we handle that exception and did we log it and show the user and stuff? And I just don't think it happens anymore because we've changed, because Stack Chain doesn't throw exceptions if you Stack Chain doesn't get us confused, basically. So I think a gentle step is we just delete the assertion that we've done in the scenario, so it should pass. But I think we could probably be a bit braver and really refactor this file and get rid of the exception handling and clean it up. But maybe let's do that in a separate commit, shall we?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What does the mob feel?
Well, certainly a separate commit, I would think. But I think it's nice to show how to get rid of tests that are no longer necessary. Because otherwise, the tendency is to not get rid of stuff.
Yeah, we cling to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to create a new issue?
No, I think we can do it as part of this PR, probably.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I'd like
nice.
to get to the point where Demi's tests are all passing. And we've got that other one that's still hanging around as well, haven't we? What's going on here then?
No clue.
The following modules listed in your package JSON have issues. All modules need to be
NPM
installed with the correct
runs
It didn't do that before, did it?
install.
I mean, yeah, you could try an npm install. Just and then
It's so weird because I did npm run test like 2 commands ago,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't think I've changed anything since then.
trouble is, in the JavaScript ecosystem, everything's changing all the time. But I don't know how it would have changed on your machine because we only did. Well, we did do a.
Well, it
A
seems
sync.
it's going through that now, so.
It was nice to see those unit tests passing.
I think they're all passed because the 14 wasn't always.
I don't remember. I
was
don't know
wrong
what
with
those
that one.
14 are. I was just wondering that. Can you scroll it up a little bit so we can see what the command was that it ran? Compatibility. So that's the CCK. Yeah, that's the thing Relin's been working on in Ruby. That's like a kit we have which tests whether Cucumber JS behaves consistently with Cucumber Ruby and Cucumber JVM. So we have a compatibility kit set of tests. Right, so this one's a puzzle because it doesn't fail in CI. So this is another thing that's like unique to your machine. I suggest though we make a commit with what we've just done, and we'll have a look at this separately because I think the CI might start passing now with what we've done.
Alright.
So I'm sorry, guys, but I'm gonna have to leave. I had to be a customer ticket that just went bad, so I have to take a look at this.
Oh, bad luck, Dane.
So, it's what it is.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see y'all next time. My schedule's open for next week, so I'll be here next
Great.
week.
Take care, Dan. See you later. Bye.
Bye. It was a pleasure seeing y'all.
Okay, do you want to copy it from the previous commit message?
be a lot easier. All right. Seems that's clear.
So we can go watch the CI again. But it's going to take a few minutes, right? I'm interested in what's up with this temp file test on your machine. What's going on with it? Can we have a look in your editor, Demi, at the scenario that fails? This features formatter path. If you hold down the command key, you can hover over. Do you see just under your cursor? You've moved it now. Like where it says in white, just above all of the green bit, it says one scenario absolute path. Just so there's a whole bunch of green text. Yeah, here. Then on the right of it, it says features / formatter paths. Right. Try command clicking on that. Not quite. I thought that was going to open the file for us, but it didn't work. Oh well. I don't know what it has done. So anyway, yeah, let's try and find that features formatter paths file and just have a read through it and see what it's doing. Because it's doing something. Can you try and just browse to it? Yeah, I thought that was going to open it up for you, but it doesn't work. I don't know why not. Features formatter paths. So, and it's the one on line 26 that fails. Absolute path. So given tumpdir is an absolute path, when I run QCOMJS with -f summary tumpdir summary.txt, the file tumpdir summary.txt has the text. And what it says is that it can't find that file. And I suppose it's probably something to do with the brackets again, or the spaces or something, isn't it? So how are we going to figure this out? This is actually like a whole nother problem, probably. Like it's nothing to do with the stack traces, but it's probably also related to the brackets in the path, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
What is in? So if you got a tump folder in this directory, can you just ls tump in your shell? Yeah, there's a load of stuff in there. And what was it expecting to find? Summary.txt, was it? You maybe want to like... Okay.
It doesn't see it.
Ah, well, okay. So I can see the problem.
Is that relevant?
This is just
relative to it.
Basic shell stuff. So on line 28, where we're passing the tumpdir in the path, that tumpdir is going to get expanded out to be a path that includes brackets and spaces and all kinds of stuff. So how about we try putting quotes around that whole bit? So I would go back to probably just after the colon. So where it says -f summary colon, and then I'd put a quote around after so go right a bit to the colon, Yeah, put a quote there, and a double quotes, and then after the text there. I wonder if that'll help.
Now, in your opinion, Matt, is in terms of like best practices for feature files, is this too concrete? In other words, should some of these strings be elsewhere, like in a, I don't know.
Good question. Let's step back and think about it a bit. So what are we describing? We're describing how the formatter, because there's always this tension with these kinds of tests that it's once we've got an end. This is basically an end-to-end test, right? This is like using Cucumber at the shell just the same way as a user would. And it's always tempting when you find another edge case to just add another scenario like this rather than thinking about, could I push this down to a unit test? And I don't have a strong opinion right now about whether this is good or bad. I mean, it's telling us about different cases of different kinds of ways you would interact with this feature. The fact that it's substituting the tumpder is a bit weird, right? It's a bit unusual, but it's also kind of necessary because we can't hard code it in this test. We'd need to let it get generated on the test runner machine.
Oh,
so the spaces between here.
Yeah, I think
that
probably confused it.
Oh,
no, it's still not right, eh?
Is it the same error though?
No, I think it's
something's different about it.
Yeah, it is different, isn't it? It's almost like it can't even do the writing now. So that's quite good in a way that we've changed the error, so we've had some sort of effect. Well, as annoying as this is, I'm still interested to see whether the CI for the pull request for the problem we've been solving with the stack traces is passing.
And it does.
And it is. So this is actually a separate issue. I mean,
yeah.
Parentheses in developers' paths break Cucumber's own test. It's still a problem, but we've fixed one of the reasons why they do that now, which is the thing about the stack traces. And yeah, arguably we could ignore this problem that we're suffering now with the temp thing, and just finish off the work we're doing on that pull request, and get it merged. It would be nice to fix this though, wouldn't it? I don't know how much time the two of you've got. Demi, you said you had to be somewhere else after this. What do you feel like doing?
The interview at 1 p.m.
Right, and is that in an hour for you in your time zone? It's 9.
Oh yes, it's in an hour.
Yeah. What do you feel like doing, you two? What would you like to do? Would you like to sort of keep polishing off the thing with the other scenario and deleting the test and so on, or try and dive into this new problem? What's your thought, Blaise?
Well, I guess for educational purposes, the idea is to build a body memory for the workflow, right? So maybe we should just wrap up the other one.
Yeah.
To give Demi practice on that. And then that also, I mean, I still feel like this is somehow, the way this feature is described seems like it's somehow just a little too brittle or like shell specific.
Yeah. You
Temptors are environment variables.
There, yeah. So maybe we can shelve this problem for another session and kind of finish off the one that we've been looking at. Are you okay with that, Demi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's save this one for another time. So yeah, you could.
Because it feels like what we're testing in this feature in the
I'll roll this
description
back.
we're testing is the integration with the file, the way that the shell describes the file system. I mean, I guess that's sort of true with the whole thing, but anyway.
So now we've got the pull request is okay. So that's what we're going to do. So now the pull request is green. What I think I would like to try doing is deleting all of that stuff with the. Let's do some refactoring. So let's try deleting that try catch block in get definition line in URI. Yeah.
This whole thing.
Well, not the bulk of the code inside it, but the wrapping around it. So the whole try bit at the top and the catch bit at the bottom. I just think we don't need that anymore.
Yeah,
You might have one extra curly brace there, do you? At the bottom. Oh, should we fix your linter? You know, actually, what you can do right now is you press Command Shift P. Is it? Yeah, and then do Format Document. That's probably going to get it about linted. Yeah. So let's just check this though. Let's read through it now that we've done that. Do we even need to use these temporary lets for the line in URI? Like, because that was part of a sort of a way that this function operated before, right? Like tried one thing and then. So we've got one if statement in here that if the stack frame is not equal to null, so it's possible that we might try and find a stack frame and not get one that isn't excluded. So we might end up with like we can't find a stack frame. So it's possible that line 21 gives us a null.
Right.
But I'm just wondering.
You mean line 17?
Yeah. So we end up in that situation where we've got that. We've got that if statement at least. It does have value URI. Okay, so that's doing a funny thing where it's checking whether it's got a. It's all very sort of defensive, this code, and I just wonder whether we can just make it relax a bit. Like, what's the case where get file name is not going to give us a value now? Is that actually true as well? Does it need to have all of this value or default type stuff?
Yeah.
Because like what we could maybe do, right, is on line 20, if stack frame. I mean, we haven't got any tests for this probably. Which is, yeah, that's making me a bit nervous actually now. I've just said that out loud. Just let's test whether we have got any tests for this, right? Change, you see on line 30 and 31 where it defaults to 0 and at the bottom where it defaults to 0 and unknown. Just change those to something else. Change that like 0 to 99 and unknown to your favorite silly thing to put in a
Bob.
and run the tests. So this is what you call mutation testing, where you change the logic in your tests and you expect them to fail, or you change the logic and you expect tests to fail
in your code.
And this can help you to see whether there are gaps in your testing, right? And you can get frameworks that will do this on purpose, that will come into your code and like swap logical statements around, make an or an and or something, and then run the test and tell you whether what changes were possible to make without the test catching it. Because Cucumber.js is largely test driven, so we would expect that most of the code will have a test to be there. Put my heater back on because it's gone off. But if we don't get a test failure, other than this one that we're expecting with the temp directory, then we probably don't dare touch this anymore. Like, we should probably just leave it. or we add another unit test. But I'm not sure how we'd reproduce a situation where we get a null stack frame anyway. So and the thing is that this is the beauty of having a big user base is if we take this exception handler off and we do a release and somebody starts getting the exception again, we'll add it back in. But it's good to err on the side of cleaning the code and making it light and lean if it looks like it doesn't need to be. So that's an issue, right? That we don't have a test to cover this. It's a shame, and but that's I think it's a sensible thing. So I think we could still go ahead and delete the try catch block.
Yeah.
I like it. So you're just going to go and do it again from a clean state. Yeah. And then I think we can delete the entire scenario that was failing on you. The one where we deleted just the last couple of steps out of it. So not this spec, this one. Let's just delete the entire file from the project.
Oh.
Oh, right, because the whole
there's just no problem with
matter
custom
of
stack
custom
traces
stack
anymore,
traces.
and it's really not. It's not that important to document that.
Right.
Something that you would expect to works. I think because this is all about if you've overridden prepare stack trace, then it should work. That's all you've got. Yeah.
All right, that works.
Yeah. All right. Well, so, how about if I take the screen share so I can merge your pull request, because I think it's ready to rock, isn't it?
You want me to hit ready for review?
Say that? Say what?
There's a button that says ready for review.
Oh, good. Okay. Yes. Maybe you should keep the screen share while you do that, actually, because you can show everybody what happens when you do that.
Right there?
Yeah. Right, because we marked it as draft, didn't we, initially? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you do that, you can already see up the top right, look, that you've got me and David are reviewing it because we have already written comments in it, right? And if you hadn't have had that, you could have requested reviews from specific individuals as well if you'd wanted to. Should we just check through the checklist? Just make sure how are we doing? My change requires change the documentation, and I have added an entry to the unreleased section of the changelog linking to this pull request. Well, so that is actually a thing that we need to do. So let's do that now. Yeah. So if you open up the changelog file in your VS Code editor, and we can add another entry in.
Also, what is your documentation look like? Because since we removed that custom trace stack trace feature, maybe you should. Do you need to document that?
You could say that is documentation. So we could tick those boxes. But this is really important. Updating the changelog is a really important thing to do. So in the unreleased section here, what we need to do is add a section. So this changelog file is a kind of conventional thing that you always have in open source projects, and you can read through it to see what's been in each release. And it helps us as maintainers if every time somebody makes a pull request, they add a line in here, which we can then move into the, change the unreleased to the number of the release, and we've got a link to it. So you can see the kind of other stuff that's below it. So what you'll have in this unreleased section is, so I would probably use the heading fixed. Can you see that they're like either under added or changed or fixed as you go down? Yeah.
Space. Yeah.
Like that?
Space after the.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Nice.
this is Markdown, this file format in here. That's going to end up rendering in GitHub as nice heading and bullets.
Yep. Windows and paths.
Well, it wasn't just Windows though. We did Windows today, but the reason we're here is because Demi's. Can you see in Demi's developer path? He's got that WPI edu in his.
Yes.
Yeah, this bit, and that is that's tripped up some of Cucumber's code. It couldn't handle being run in a directory with that in its path.
Okay.
And it meant that the tests were failing for no good reason.
Right.
Yeah, for a developer. For developers working on Cucumber's own code, that's the kind of point, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. And did you see that convention of putting a link into the ticket, like that one number?
Yeah.
You could probably just copy paste that one and then just change the numbers. Oh yeah, you get it. I've forgotten the number. You knew it off by heart the other day, didn't you? Blaise knows it.
1735.
Yeah. Sweet.
All right.
That's it.
Is it 17? I thought it was 18. Yeah.
18's the pull request. 1824 is the pull request.
Oh, got it. Brilliant. Okay.
Issue
I
is
see the issues.
1735.
Yep.
Either would be fine to link to here, just so long as we've got something.
That's good.
That is great. So we can add this as a...
Yeah, it's really nice.
And just say update changelog.
Nice.
And while we were doing that, probably the tests have run and hopefully passed again.
But it's about to start again.
Yeah, they will be.
Yeah.
But if you look at the commits tab, you should be able to see the last commit with a green tick next to it. So it'll be at the bottom. Oh no, it failed.
Oh.
Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, it's linting.
Oh man. Oh boy.
Does the CI script run lint autofix?
It doesn't lint autofix because it doesn't commit any changes. It just all it does is just fail if it's not linted. Oh, you hope. Oh, you mean previous? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In your, I think I can show you how to do it if you want the VS Code thing for how to auto format. Do you want to see how to do it?
Yes.
If you go into settings, so it's Command comma, I think, and then type in that search settings at the top, type auto save. No, wait a minute. I don't mean auto save, do I? I mean format. So try just search for format maybe. Okay, there you go. Editor format on save. So if you tick that, that's a general thing which one should now do it every time you press save in any file. And it could get annoying for some file types, and you might need to disable it. But that's so you know where that option is now. But what you should find now is that probably should have done this ages ago. But that should mean if you change a JavaScript file now, it'll save it. Let's try it. Take one of those ones you've got in your tabs at the top. Just fiddle it around a bit. Tab something in.
Yeah, that's not gonna do anything.
And then save it. Yeah.
Yes.
And I tell you, like, having this on for whatever project you work on is so nice. Because, I mean, this is, maybe this is like an old school thing now, but back in my day, you used to get people arguing about like what sort of how many tabs to use, and people have like artistic ideas about how to line up their code and all this sort of thing, and it's so boring having people argue about stuff like that. Whereas if you just give it over to a machine that just like, this is the way the code's going to get formatted, it's just so much it's just one less thing to
See if I could do the same with
yeah
Xcode.
Yeah, people love to argue about stuff like this.
Is it just men that like to argue about stuff like that, I wonder?
Oh, yeah, men. Sorry. Men like to argue about this.
That is funny. What else is really accurate?
Well, should we flip to my screen and I'll see about if we can merge this now.
Sounds good.
Let me. Well, I'm not sharing my screen with you two, am I? So that's what I need to do. So get a new browser up because that one's covered in touch windows. Which you're seeing this screen, aren't you? The one with the browser on it now. So
yes.
I'm going to go to GitHub, Cucumber.js, and we see the pull request, and it's still got an amber flag on it right now. And you've now done that changelog fix, right?
Yeah.
Let's just double check we can see that. So if I look at the files changed, here's the changelog. Nice one. And I think we should check these because you have changed the docs, because we've removed that feature file because it's no longer relevant. So as a maintainer, right, I've been following this anyway. Obviously, I mean, I've been pairing on it today, right? But if I hadn't have been here, if you'd have all been doing this without me, right? I've been following along with this, and you know, you've now marked it as not draft. I think I might have still maybe expected there to be one last, like, you know, you commenting in here and saying, right, I think this is good enough. Matt, can you take a look or something? You could have mentioned that to me if I hadn't have been here today, you know.
Yeah.
But this is, if I'm looking at this now, and doing one kind of last review, because I've had my head across it anyway. I've checked through I'm looking at the checklist. I'm going to skim the changes again just to see So okay, so these files were deleted. Package lock changing is not very interesting. I'm not too worried about that. I can see that you've added this dependency and removed this other one. We can see the changes in this file where we've got rid of the try catch block. And we can see this new test here, and that there was a conversation about that bit of it. So this is a pretty simple change for me to review, right? There's only a few lines of code to read, even if I wasn't around when it was written. This is really nicely done. It's nicely presented. It's a small piece of change to the code, which makes it easy for me to review. Because when somebody sends us like 500-600 lines of changes, it's a lot for you to get your head around. Like what was their intent and stuff. And the fact that it's coming in a pile of commits is absolutely fine. I know this probably feels a bit messy that we've had to do the linting and all that sort of stuff, but actually seeing how it's evolved as a maintainer is absolutely fine. But what we probably want to do is keep the Git history clean when we bring it into the main branch. So what I'm going to do as I merge this is I'm going to use the squash and merge button. So there's different options here, actually, which we've got disabled anyway, but GitHub does let you create a merge commit, which would basically just leave all of those 20 commits dangling and then create one commit that tells Git to merge them all in. Or you could do a rebase, which would actually just move all of those 20 commits onto the main branch, which would be really messy. But a squash commit is really nice. So what this is going to do is I'm going to make one commit now, which has got all of those changes in it. So you're still going to get the credit. And so if we go to that commit, it's running the test on it again, and you can see, so it's still got all of the mobbers' faces on it, but we've got a single commit on the main branch's history that brings in this change. So rather than somebody looking through those 20 different things that we did, what we see is just this one atomic change on the main branch. Am I making sense? I feel like I'm just
it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
The other thing,
so pretty much condensed the entire pull request to one commit.
Yeah. So you can, a squash is a great metaphor for it, because it just squashes down all those commits into, and it's a separate commit, it's a different commit. The 20 commits are still sitting somewhere else in Git's history against this branch. But
right.
the commit that's gone onto main has got all of the code that was in those commits, but just as a single change. So when you look at git log in main, you'll just see, this pull request was fixed, and it's now marked as merged. The other thing that's happened, look, is we've had a message from Aslak.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
I'd love to know what you think of it, Demi, when you read it.
Seems encouraging. It's like, oh wow, my first contribution, and I am now officially part of the committed team here. So
that's quite impressive.
Is it at all sort of overwhelming or intimidating, or like I don't know, like too forward, too friendly, like?
Nah, actually, it's great, because like, oh wow, kind of like congratulations on making your first contribution to Cucumber. But actually, in my case, it's my first contribution to any open source code.
Yeah. Well, so we have this what we call a liberal commit bit policy, where you're now in. If I go to the Cucumber org and look at the committers team, how do we spell it?
It's EOO.
Oh, you probably need to accept it. Actually, you'll have been sent
It
an
says
invitation.
one pending member.
Does it? Where does it say that? Yeah. So you've
There you go.
been sent an email that's inviting you to the committers team, and that automatically gives you the rights to push to the majority of the repos in Cucumber. There's some of them that we keep.
Oh my, that is quite generous.
So yeah, there's some of them that we like. This sort of build infrastructure stuff that's got release secrets in it and stuff. We keep that a bit more closed, but it means that you now don't need to work in a fork. If you want to work on Cucumber.js now, you can work inside the Cucumber.js code base if you want.
Nice.
And you
I
similarly-
just joined the team.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, I like when I said I'd love the feedback. The thing I'm interested in is sort of like what it's gone now, isn't it? Where is it? It's here. What could we do to follow up on this to like help you actually kind of make your next contribution? That's kind of my puzzle, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's got some pointers there about coming into the community Slack and so on, but yeah, I'd love to hear more about what else we could be doing, really.
Maybe link them back to other open.
Yeah, similar tickets. Similar, if there was some way of linking it, you know how they have like good first issue?
Yeah.
Maybe it could be like a good second issue or something like that, or
Good second issue.
or good next issue or something like that.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if this is so this is closed now, this issue, because we merged the pull request that had that magic word fixes 1735.
Oh, right.
GitHub's automatically closed this issue for us, and actually we know this issue isn't quite resolved, right?
Oh, you have to reopen it then.
Well, or we could make another one. So my kind of tendency is to try and like leave one ticket alone, but either way is fine, because there's been quite a long thread talking about just this one. So I think I might be tempted to just make another one, because we didn't actually. Well, this was when we reported this originally. It was just like exploding all over the place, wasn't it, Demi? There was hundreds of them failing.
It was,
and we're now
it
down
was
to just
22.
one.
22, 23, I think. 22 tests failed.
Well, we're out of time now for today, and we know we're not quite there yet with making it all work on your machine, but we've made a big step towards it. So yeah, maybe that's what we could look at next time.
Sounds good. Static stuff.
Yeah.
How do you put open source contributions in a resume?
Oh, the URL.
Yes.
It's kind of like I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of ways of doing it, but you could just say like, you could have a section for publications or open source, and then just have like the links.
Yeah, I mean, look, your
Sounds
face
good.
is right there right now. Your face is right there on the homepage of Cucumber.js. Take a screenshot.
Oh wow! Yeah, I'm gonna take a screenshot.
Definitely
of that.
want. Yeah, that's your new avatar or whatever signature file.
I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. Yeah, until someone makes the next latest commit,
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts.
right?
All right, well, I'm going to stop the stream. Thanks, you both.
Thank you.
It's been really fun.
Yeah, thank you. This was great.
And I just want to kind of like, I've said this before, Blaise, but I know you sort of like, you don't feel confident with JavaScript, but you're just such a great member of the ensemble. Just keeping the
Oh my God,
conversation
thank you.
rolling
That's very
and
kind.
following along with everything. It's great. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm happy to type. I mean, honestly, I this is the sort of thing I could have easily done. Now that I think about it, so I'm happy to do it the next time.
Brilliant. Well, next time maybe we can, once we get over this issue with the last bit with the path, maybe we can look at some Python another time. I'd love to learn some Python. And I was doing Go this week with Ariana. That was interesting.
I know Ariana.
Do you know Ariana from
Yeah.
thingy?
Cul-de-sac. How did you meet Ariana?
Hang on, I'm going to stop the stream and I'll catch up with you about that. Hang on. Bye, stream watchers.